Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiv Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudite Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 19, a description of the island of Jambudvip. Text number 6 onwards. Na vaisa atma atmavatam suritama saktastrilokyam bhagwan vasudevaha na strikritam kashmalam ashnovita na lakshmanam chapi vihatum arahati. So Hanumanji is further praying, since Lord Ramchandra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, he is not attached to anything in this material world. He is the most beloved super soul of all self-realized souls, and he is their very intimate friend. Of separation from his wife. Now could he have given up his wife and Lakshman, his younger brother? To give up either would have been absolutely impossible. In defining the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we say that he is full in all six opulences: wealth, fame, strength, influence, beauty, and renunciation. He is called renounced because he is not attached to anything in this material world. He is specifically attached to the spiritual world and the living entities there. The affairs of the material world take place under the superintendence of Durga Devi. Everything is going on under the strict rules and regulations of the material energy represented by Durga. Therefore, the Lord is completely detached and need not give attention to the material world. Sita Devi belongs to the spiritual world. Similarly, Lord Lakshman, Ramchandra's younger brother, is a manifestation of Sankarshan, and Lord Ramchandra himself is Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Sita Devi, Lakshman, they all are spiritual, transcendent. And just when Sita was lost or kidnapped by Ravan and Lord Ram was displaying his separation from her and his apparent suffering, that was just part of his pastime. Otherwise, it's not like she was some material wife and he was attached to the bodily beauty of Sita Devi, and that's why he was lamenting. It was just part of his pastime. Since the Lord is always spiritually qualified, he is attached to servants who always render transcendental loving service unto him. He is attached to the truth in life, not to Brahminical qualities. Indeed, he is never attached to any material qualities. Although he is the super soul of all living entities, he specifically manifests to those who are self-realized, and he is especially dear to the hearts of his transcendental devotees. Because Lord Ramchandra descended to teach human society how dutiful a king should be, he apparently gave up the company of Mother Sita and Lakshman. Factually, however, he could not have given them up. One should therefore learn about the activities of Lord Ramchandra from a self-realized soul. Then one can understand the transcendental activities of the Lord. But when did he give up the company of Lakshman? Lakshman was always with him. In the shloka also it's there. I don't know. Maybe some kalpa bhed is there, some other kalpa, some other pastime happens in some other different way. We don't know. Na janma nunam mahato cha sobhagam na vang na buddhir na kritis teshu tosha hetu taryad visrishtanapi no vano kasash chakar sakya mat lakshmana agrajaha. One cannot establish a friendship with the Supreme Lord Ramchandra on the basis of material qualities, such as one's birth in an aristocratic family, one's personal beauty, one's opulence, one's eloquence, one's sharp intelligence, or one's superior race or nation. None of these qualifications is actually a prerequisite for friendship with Lord Ramchandra. Otherwise, how is it possible that although we uncivilized inhabitants of the forest have not taken noble births, although we have no physical beauty, and although we cannot speak like gentlemen, Lord Ramchandra has nevertheless accepted us as friends. So this, because Hanumanji is praying and Hanumanji is glorifying Lord Ramchandra, he's saying, although we uncivilized inhabitants, of course, Hanumanji is more than and more civilized than any person in the whole universe. He's the knower of the Vedas, knower of all the knowledges that is required. He knows everything. Only thing is, he is just has taken his body in as a monkey. That's all. But devotees always take a humble position, and he is saying, I'm just an uncivilized person. And still, Lord Ramchandra, out of his mercy, he has accepted us as his friends. So he's speaking about himself and Sugriv and other monkeys who served Lord Ram. In a prayer to Krishna expressing her feelings, Srimati Kunti Devi called him Akinchan Gochara. The prefix a means not, and kinchan means something of this material world. One may be very proud of his prestigious position, material wealth, beauty, education, and so on. But although these are certainly good qualifications in material dealings, they are not necessary for achieving friendship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, to become a devotee of the Lord, these are not prerequisites. To have aristocratic birth, personal beauty, eloquence, sharp intelligence. Well, because Krishna has or Ram has all these features to the utmost degree, completely. He has it. So these features don't attract him. Only thing that attracts him is a mood of service, the surrender. That's all. One who possesses all these material qualities is expected to become a devotee. And when he actually does, the qualities are properly utilized. Those who are puffed up by a high birth, wealth, education, and personal beauty, unfortunately, do not care for developing Krishna consciousness. Nor does the Supreme Personality of Godhead care about all these material qualifications. So these qualifications or these features are in a way a hindrance to the devotional service. Why? Because one who has these features, high birth, wealth, education, personal beauty, or fame, or somebody is famous, they just generally they don't surrender. They get very puffed up, and they don't surrender unto Krishna. Of course, these are not disqualifications either. It's not that anybody who's wealthy or having high birth, education, or beauty, he cannot surrender. It's not that, but generally they don't surrender. That's all. The Supreme Lord is achieved by devotion. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. One's devotion and sincere desire to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead are the only qualifications. Rupa Goswami has also said that the prize for achieving God's favor is simply one's sincere eagerness to have it. Lolyam ekam mulyam. So Rupa Goswami said there's only one price to pay to achieve Krishna's favor is our earnest desire, sincere eagerness to have it. That's all. See, if education was a hindrance in developing love for Krishna, then six Goswamis, they all were scholars. So education is not an hindrance. It just when somebody is too proud of his education, then it becomes a problem. Wealth is not a hindrance. Maharaj Yudhishthir was a king of the whole universe or whole world. Parikshit Maharaj, so many kings before that also. High birth, so many devotees have had high birth. Yudhishthir Maharaj was born in this royal family. Personal beauty, so many devotees have been so beautiful. It's not a hindrance. It just, they don't surrender. Especially in Kali Yuga, definitely they don't surrender. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, it is said, behold the great fortune of the devotee Kholavecha. Lord Brahma and Shiva shed tears upon seeing his greatness. One cannot attain Lord Krishna by any amount of wealth, followers, or learning. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is controlled only by pure devotion. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a very sincere devotee whose name was Kholavecha Sridhar, and whose only business was to sell parts made of the skin of the banana trees. Whatever income he had, he used 50% for the worship of Mother Ganges. And with the other 50%, he provided for his necessities. On the whole, he was so very poor that he lived in a cottage that had a broken roof with many holes in it. He could not afford brass utensils, and therefore he drank water from an iron pot. Nevertheless, he was a great devotee of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is a typical example of how a poor man with no material possessions can become a most exalted devotee of the Lord. Conclusion is that one cannot attain shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna or Sri Chaitanya Gosai through material opulence. That shelter is attainable only by pure devotion service. And this Kholavecha Sridhar that Prabhupada is talking about is, he was so poor, as Prabhupada said, he drank water from an iron pot. In fact, that iron pot was the only possession, material thing that he had. And it is mentioned that it was dented at so many places that even a desperate thief would not steal it. And that iron pot, Kholavecha Sridhar, was not only used only for drinking water, for everything else also. Like in those days, they would go to pass a stool, and then he would take the same iron pot to clean himself up. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he led the civil disobedience movement against Chand Kazi, soldiers had broken Mridanga in a Sankirtan procession, and Chand Kazi had made an announcement that anybody who's seen doing kirtan or playing Mridanga will be beaten up and put into jail, and he will be converted into Muslim. So devotees came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and telling them that your order is to carry out Sankirtan, and Chand Kazi is stopping us. What to do? So Mahaprabhu said, okay, we will carry out Sankirtan procession tonight, and everybody should come. Everybody from every household should come. And they all should bring torches, because we'll go out in the evening and it will become dark. So torches means the the flame torches. So there are millions and millions of people in that Sankirtan procession. It is also said in Chaitanya Bhagavat that all the demigods, 330 million demigods, every single demigod, they took part in that kirtan in a disguise. They took the disguise of Navadvip Vasi and they took part in that kirtan. And people may say, because that kirtan distance wise, if we go to Mayapur from the house of Srinivas Thakur, where the kirtan started, to the place of Chandkazi, it's not too far, maybe a couple of kilometers, not too long. So 330 million demigods plus millions and millions of Navadvip Vasis, how is it possible? So, well, see, it's all possible for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to do anything. What's a big deal for him? He can do anything or everything. He's the Supreme Lord. Okay, so the point is, once the kirtan was over, Mahaprabhu had discussion with Chandkazi, and then Chandkazi admitted his mistake, and he said, from now on, nobody will ever, in Navadvip, nobody will stop the Sankirtan, and none of my ministers or even my descendants, they will never stop Sankirtan in Navadvip. And Mahaprabhu got very happy and he was coming back, and he came back and he went to the house of Kolavecha Sridhar, and he said, I'm very thirsty, and he drank water from the same iron pot that Kolavecha Sridhar used to use. That was his only possession, nothing else he had. And this is because Mahaprabhu was tasting the love, the devotion of Kolavecha Sridhar. And there's so many other devotees of Mahaprabhu who apparently, materially, they were not very well off. Haridas Thakur, born in a Muslim family, Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, although Saraswat Brahmins, but they had practically converted to Muslims. There's so many other devotees. They didn't have any good material standing, but they were fully dedicated, fully surrendered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu just took care of them. And that shows that only by pure devotional service Mahaprabhu is pleased, not by any other opulence one may have. And this is what Rupa Goswami also says in Nectar of Devotion. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities of philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. So that's all what pleases Krishna. Suro asuro vapyat vanaro naraha sarvatmana yaha sukritagyam uttamam bhajeta ramam manuja kritim harim ya uttarananyat kosalam divam iti. Therefore, whether one is a demigod or a demon, a man or creature other than man, such as a beast or bird, everyone should worship Lord Ramchandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears on this earth just like a human being. There is no need of great austerities or penances to worship the Lord. For he accepts even a small service offered by his devotee. Thus he is satisfied, and as soon as he is satisfied, the devotee is successful. Indeed, Lord Ramchandra brought all the devotees of Ayodhya back home, back to Godhead, Vaikuntha. Lord Sri Ramchandra is so kind and merciful to his devotees that he is very easily satisfied by little service rendered by anyone, human or not. This is a special advantage of worshipping Lord Ram. And there is a same advantage in worshipping Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Krishna and Lord Ramchandra, in the manner of Kshatriyas, sometimes showed their mercy by killing asuras. But Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu awarded love of God without difficulty even to the asuras. All the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but especially Lord Ramchandra and Lord Krishna and later Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered many of the living entities present before them. Indeed, almost all of them. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is therefore represented in the six-armed form of Shadbhuja Murti, which is a combination of Lord Ramchandra, Lord Krishna, and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The best purpose of human life can be fulfilled by worshipping the Shadbhuja Murti, the form of the Lord with six arms, two arms of Lord Ramchandra, two arms of Krishna, and two arms of Sri Chaitanya. So this Shadbhuj form, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed few times to his devotees. So two arms of Lord Ramchandra carrying bow and arrow, two arms of Krishna playing on the flute, and two arms of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu carrying kamandalu, water pot, and the chanting beads, or the danda, sannyas danda. I'm forgetting, but I think sannyas danda he was carrying. So that was to show that Ram, Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they all are same, just performing different pastimes with a different mood. That's all. But the amount of mercy is there in all these incarnations. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is much, much, much more merciful because he did not kill anybody. Lord Ram killed so many demons. Krishna also killed so many. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did not kill. He just killed their demoniac consciousness and made them devotees. This is a special mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But even Lord Ram is very merciful, very kind to his devotees, and even a little service. We know the services rendered by, say, Jatayu or Sampati or that squirrel when they were making the bridge, and all the monkeys, they rendered service to Ram. Shabari was not a Brahmin or very well educated or very exalted person, but her devotion, her service, her mode of service was so great that even Ram was attracted to go to her hermitage. She was waiting in that hermitage for many, 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 many years. Because her guru, when he was going to Vaikuntha, he had told Shabri to wait there, that Ram is going to come and you should serve him. Just with that one instruction, the faith she had, every single day she would get up, she would clean the hermitage, bring fresh water, flowers, fruits or what? Berries only. And she would wait whole day for Ram to come. Every single day for years and years and years and years. In some place I have read, she waited for 10,000 years. And this is not in the Ramayana I have read, so I have to read that in Ramayana, but this is some place I read, 10,000 years. Can we have that kind of devotion with that kind of faith and determination? If there is, that will definitely attract the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That will force him to come. And that to look at her devotion when Ram came, and obviously she didn't have chapan bhog to feed Ram. And Ram was also a forest dweller. He was living on fruits and roots and herbs. And she fed him berries taken from the forest trees. But she wanted to make sure that she only serves him sweet berries. So she was biting on the berries, and whatever was sweet she was giving to Ram, and whatever was not sweet she was throwing them away. We cannot do that kind of offering at our homes to the deities. It'll be offensive, but not for Shabri. And Shabri, another thing that I read about her, nobody knows her name. It's not mentioned anywhere. Shabri was because she was from Shabar Jati. That's why she was called Shabri. And she was a Bhilni, so she was Bhilni. Nobody knows her name, exact name. But her devotion was so great that Ram had to come. Some places it's also mentioned Ravan was not a big deal for Ram to kill. Ram went to the forest to meet all these devotees, Hanumanji, Sugriv, Shabri. These devotees he went there to meet, actually. So that kind of devotion we have to develop. And when that is developed, definitely Ram, Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will come looking for us. We won't have to go look for them. They will come looking for us. So with faith, with determination, with sincerity, we just carry on with our services. And that's it. These are the services: chanting, hearing, reading, servicing. That's it. Service. That's all. So anyway, we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Status vaccinated.
Okay, so I guess we can stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.